everyone, it's Bethany. Welcome back to the 25 days of Cricut cheer. In this video, I'm going to be creating a little wooden sign, and I'm really excited because I found a little SVG that is just beautiful, and I really wanted it to be a part of my Christmas decor this year, so I'm going to be placing that design on a little wooden frame. I have this little wooden frame that I purchased from a website called notjustframes.com. I believe that's correct, but I'll be sure to link it in the description box below the video. I just placed my first order through them, and I am very impressed with how my order came. It came beautifully. Everything that I ordered was exactly how I wanted it, and I loved the colors. So I'm going to be using that as my base. I'm also going to be using adhesive vinyl. Sometimes you'll see me using iron-on, and sometimes you'll see me using adhesive vinyl on my wooden signs. And the reason I'm using adhesive vinyl this time is simply because I only had the color that I really loved in adhesive vinyl, and so adhesive vinyl it is. And I actually love using both, so it's just kind of where the color lies in my craft supplies. So I'm going to be using this light gray. It is Oracle 651 vinyl, and I love working with Oracle 651. It's just very easy to weed and work with. I also have some clear grid line transfer tape, which is just going to be really useful when helping to put my design down into my frame. And then I have a squeegee scraper tool, a weeding tool, and then I have a little measuring tape. And real quickly, I'm just going to measure the inside of my frame just to see how much space I have to work with. So it looks like it's about 6.5, and I'm just going to double check that that's exactly the same for the height as well. About 6.5. Okay, let's hop into Design Space. We are using a pre-made SVG, so it's going to be as simple as just sizing the SVG and getting it ready to cut. Okay, this is the little SVG that I'm going to be using. I'll link it down below in case you'd like to purchase it for yourself. This is from designbundles.com, and I just loved it. I thought it was so beautifully done. So really quickly, all I'm going to do is come over to the shapes, and I am going to grab a square, and I'm just going to recreate the size of my wooden sign. That way I know how to size my SVG. So I'm just changing my width to 6.5, and then it automatically changes my height to the same since it is locked. Then I'm going to go ahead and make the sign white, and then I'm going to select my SVG over here. I'm going to right click and say send to the front, and then I'll bring it over here, and that actually is perfect. I'm not even going to do anything. That looks perfect for my little sign. Okay, so now I can go ahead and hide my little template. Because you can see there's a lot of layers that make up this file, I'm going to go ahead and highlight the entire file and attach it together so that it cuts exactly in this order and everything is placed exactly how I see it on the screen here. I'm going to go ahead and switch my machine to the Cricut Explorer, and then I'm going to go ahead and say make it. Okay, I can go ahead and say continue. I'm going to browse all materials, and then I'm going to type in premium vinyl, and I will just use the premium vinyl setting for the Oracle 651. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open up my machine. I have my vinyl already placed right on my mat, and then I'll get it cut out. Now remember, you can actually use any color that you'd like. I actually decorate my house with really light tones, so that is why I chose a really nice light gray. Okay, so it's all cut out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scraper tool, and I'm just going to really press down and burnish that down. That way all the pieces are in their correct spot before I start weeding. It's just something that I think can be helpful when you have an intricate design. So I just take my time and kind of press that down in a variety of angles, and then I'll turn it over and start at a corner, and I'm just going to go really slow and get my design weeded out. And this is really weeding nice. I love how this is looking. And again, just go slow and make sure you monitor that the pieces that are coming up are pieces that you don't want in your design. You want to leave down anything that needs to stay. So going slow and steady with things like this just really pay off. Let me know if you guys prefer working with adhesive vinyl or if you prefer with iron-on. I tend to prefer working with iron-on. I think it's so much easier to weed, and I also think it's just easier to place, but I think that vinyl is also really fun to work with at times as well. The only thing is sometimes vinyl messes up my manicure, and I know that's a silly reason not to work with it, but sometimes that drives me crazy. It kind of snags my fingernail polish and can just take it right off. Okay, so let me know if you guys thought that happened as well. I know it's a silly thing, but it has happened. Okay, so now I'm going through and I'm just weeding out the middles of my little letters. I love this design. I think it's so pretty, and it also just kind of focuses our minds about the season, and I just love it. Okay, so now I'm just going to go through and get Mary all weeded out right here, and I'm just collecting all the little bits and pieces on my little finger here just to keep them contained. And being careful around this little wreath down at the bottom. It has some smaller pieces. And then we'll go on to Joseph. Make sure he gets all weeded out. And what's helpful is keeping your design open in Design Space just so you can kind of get an idea of what the final design is supposed to look like. And it can be a really nice reference point when trying to determine what things to weed out and what things to keep in the design. But this is pretty straightforward and easy to weed. Okay, so this has been entirely weeded. It was really, really easy to weed. I was especially careful though around the little vine, but I thought that this was a pretty good size for this design. Any smaller and I think it would have been really difficult to get this little vine weeded out. And I originally wanted to do this on an ornament, and I'm not saying it wouldn't work, but I think it would be really, really difficult because it gets really intricate towards the bottom. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and place my design on top of this transfer tape just to get an idea of how much transfer tape I'm going to need. And go ahead and cut my little piece off. Okay, and again, I'm specifically using something that is clear. That way it will really help me get everything aligned when it's time to put it on the little wood sign. Okay, so peeling this back and placing it right on my design here. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to take my scraper tool and really press down, just like this. Make sure that transfer tape and vinyl really come together, stick together. And then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to repeat that right on the back. Just really put some pressure into it. Okay, while it's still face down, I'm going to go ahead and at an angle peel away my cutting sheet, leaving my design on my transfer tape just like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just set this to the side, and I'll bring in my little sign here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to allow the middle to kind of bend down, and I'm just going to hover it over my sign right here, and I think that looks just about right. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start in the middle, and I'm going to work my way out with my fingers and just kind of get it all laying down where it needs to go. Okay, and then I will go ahead and reinforce that with more pressure with my little scraper tool. Okay, I think I have it all pressed down, and I'll just keep my little squeegee scraper tool handy. And I'm just going to very lightly, so I don't scratch the wood, just grab a little corner of my transfer tape here. That way I can start peeling it up. Okay, and at an angle, I'm just going to peel away the transfer tape, and it's stuck really nice onto my little sign here. Okay, I'm just monitoring everything as I peel up to make sure that it stays where it needs to. And that looks great. Oh, I love the colors. This is how I like to decorate in really soft neutral tones, so be sure to pick whatever color you really like, but I really love how this turns out. This is going to actually look really, really good in my house. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I think this file is beautiful, and I love these frames. They're just so pretty, and they're all pre-made and done, so it makes for a really quick project when you have a frame that's already done and then an SVG file that is already pre-made. All you have to do is just size it and cut it out. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this. Please be sure to give this a thumbs up, and I will see you all in the next video.